All right, cool. We ready to go?
All right, let's get this going.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of the ZarCast. Name still to be determined, but for today, we're going with that. And congratulations on your hit here, as this may well end up being a one-of-one podcast. We'll see what you all think. If you dig it, we'll be looking to provide you with weekly content. And if you don't, well, we'll humbly apologize and probably never bother you all again. So I'm your host in the Discord. I go by Dante V8. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know me as Dante's Inferno TQ. My two co-hosts are here with me today, so I will let them say hello in just a minute. If you found this podcast, then there's no way you don't know these two gentlemen. They have completely stepped up and made the QUOKKA the place we all love to hang out. First up is Mr. Day Shift, always there to greet us with a positive message to start the day of QUOKKA swapping on a fun, happy note. Never an unkind word to say, the one and only D22.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Morning.
Good morning, Dante. Thank you for the intro. I'm excited to start this podcast with you guys. First time doing a podcast, man, but I'm just fired up. I'm about to head out to New York in like 2 hours and gonna be partying with the whole Tribe QUOKKA crew. And for all the fans of the Zar, man, we're going to rock this thing. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to talk QUOKKAs. That's what we do, talk QUOKKAs all day.
That's it. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm jealous. So happy that you get to go out there and see all the festivities that they have planned. I'm looking at the Wildwood one and the one in the Carolinas, so we'll see. All right, and our fellow co-host, he is there to tuck us in every night, watching over the good patrons of the Zar, having our backs, keeping our investments safe, offering the most sound and trustworthy advice. Your Zar daddy and mine. Say hello to Positive Q.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Welcome. And once again, thank you to Dante for putting this together. Dante approached us with the idea of this podcast, and D22 and I were all about it. We love working the Zar. We love bringing the deals to people. We love helping the community. So this is just another way we can do that. We have a lot of fun at night. I like coming on during the late shift. I have a little more of sometimes a sarcastic edge to me than D22 does. And I think you definitely get a different feel in the two different time zones. But it has been a ball. The interactions with the community have been awesome. And we look forward to bringing you guys not only some exciting, entertaining, funny content, but also hopefully some information that as we work our way through the world of crypto and NFTs, that we can bring you some value. We can make you laugh while we're doing it. And I'm really looking forward to this journey with these two and our guests that we're going to have along the way. And I think we're going to have some fun. So thank you very much.
Yeah, awesome. Well said, both of you guys. All right, fellas, let's quack and go here. Before we begin, though, let's just give a big thanks and shout out to the founders at QUOKKA Labs, man. Dr. Doofus, Chef X, Cobblepot, Broba Fett, Professor Rumpus, and of course, Patumbo. What a community these guys have created for all of us, huh?
It's been amazing. It's, I know a lot of these guys personally from before the project, as a lot of us do. And I knew them as friends and neighbors, but what they put together here and the community they were able to build, and a lot of times taking people who knew nothing about this space, and by the way, including me, and showing them the ropes, teaching, educating, planning. I think they've done an amazing job. And, the community has always stayed focused. The community has always stayed positive, and that is a lot to do, or almost all to do with our founders, their vision, their art, and everything that they put together to make all this happen. So always a huge thank you to them.
Oh man, yeah, I can't agree more. Actually, the founders is the reason I'm all in Tribe QUOKKA. Funny story about me. I've been in crypto for 4 years, done all the things, staking, running nodes, buying and selling like a maniac on Coinbase Pro and Kraken, and just all the things crypto. Never got into NFTs. A buddy of mine referred me to Tribe QUOKKA pre-mint, and I started looking into who the founders are. And interesting thing about our founders in Tribe QUOKKA is that these guys are experienced businessmen. They know how to build businesses. They have more than 30 years of experience running a $100 million company, tech company. And so that's the reason I really trust the founders, and they know what they're doing. They're not trying to make a quick buck, and we're building this for the long term. So I'm just excited to be part of the ride and to be able to help however I can. You already know D22, we're just trying to grow Tribe QUOKKA. That's what we do every day.
Yeah, that what you just said about the founders is so true, because I was just talking to a potential athlete that's going to join us, and talking to him yesterday, and he asked all the right questions. And that was one of the first things he said was, "Are your founders doxxed?" I said 100%. And then, I said, and they come from real actual careers and jobs. This is not a rug pull. They have, an extensive, amazing roadmap, and they're executing on it every step of the way. I mean, that's what we're doing this week, right? So yeah, it's huge. The founder component and who these guys are is just, it's massive to the success of this so far. So, and where it's going to go. One other note before we get started, we wanted you guys all to know is we do have a website for the show under construction, and we plan to put up a bunch of great stuff on that. So keep an eye out for it. We're going to hopefully try to run a few contests. Everybody loves a contest. We'll see if we can get some merch on there and some other ideas. And we want you guys, just like the Czar, we want this to be your show, and we want you guys to be a part of the show. And we're going to take listener calls in the future, and obviously guests. We do have a special guest coming on in a little bit. So yeah, so keep an eye out for that. All right. So one of the things we talked about in our pre-show meeting is we wanted to define some terms. So I read a comment on the Czar a couple weeks ago, and it said this. It started with, "I love the Czar and everything it stands for." So I'll stop it there. So D, we'll start with you. In your own words, number one, what do you think people love about the Czar? Why do we love the Czar? And what exactly does the Czar stand for?
Yeah, so first of all, the Czar is there obviously to buy and sell QUOKKAs. I'm from Puerto Rico, so you got to excuse my accent. Dr. Dick Doofus always corrects me. It's QUOKKAs, not QUOKKAs, but I just tell him that's how you say it in Spanish. With that being said, say it
how you want. It gives it a nice flair. I like it.
Yeah. We're here at Tribe QUOKKA, we're worldwide, so we got some accents here and there, and that's okay. But yeah, the Czar, man, what's exciting about the Czar is when you're on OpenSea and you're looking at NFTs and you're placing bids and you're buying and sweeping the floor, there's no real interaction of describing, whatever you're trying to sell, and negotiations between both parties are anonymous, and there's not much back and forth. You can only, submit an offer and wait till they answer, and you have no clue if they even saw your offer. That's what's super exciting about the Czar. At any given time, 24 hours a day, people come on the Czar, they'll show us their QUOKKAs, and we try to find them a buyer. And it's exciting because we get to talk about traits, we get to talk about trends, and we get to talk about the floor price and which furs are the most popular, and just all the different aspects that is part of buying and selling NFTs. And now we get to express that, have fun with it. And as spectators, even, you don't even have to be part of the deal. And you can just have a blast looking at people, at people's negotiations. It's freaking fun. And we just enjoy, the camaraderie.
Yeah, well said. That is so true. It is really fun to see when people put up deals and trade offers, and with OpenSea, that's not really a possibility. You can just either make an offer, like you said, you don't even know if it's ever been read, and then or just buy now. And so the idea that we can actually swap these for different attributes that we prefer It's awesome. So and that's all the creation of the czar right there. PQ, same question.
So expanding on what D22 said, because he's absolutely right in everything that he mentioned there. I think when you look at the czar, I think with all due respect to our other channels, which are great and fun, for me, the czar brings the three aspects of NFTs together, of being involved in this space. So people are involved in this space because they like the art. People are involved in this space because they love the communities. But people are also involved in this space as an investment and a business. And I think the czar brings all of those together in a really cool way, where you can talk about the art and you can be part of the community. Like you said, some people are just watching. They're just looking from the outside, or putting up a GIF when they see a good deal pop up, or commenting on a deal that was up. It brings those two aspects together. But then you get the business part of it, which is really, I think, what drove D22 and I to get involved in the first place. Is there's nothing more fun than trying to make a deal. When you're trying to negotiate something, like, okay, I'm putting together this bundle, I'm throwing in this one, I'm doing that one. That's impossible on OpenSea. And I don't know about other communities, but it may be impossible there, where we can bring that aspect of it. Like, you're looking for this, I'm looking for that. Let's make something happen. I know Dante yourself was trying to make a three-way deal happen the other day.
Yeah.
Those don't happen other spots.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I really enjoy doing it. And I gravitated to this channel of it, because it brings together all the things that I enjoy about this community.
Yeah, and I can't agree more, Brian. A positive Q. I do want to add as well, it's no secret, people love watching Pawn Stars. People love watching Shark Tank. And what the czar does, it brings these aspects of deal making into the NFT space, and we combine it with the awesome QUOKKAs. It's a thriving community, and we're all just excited to see where this thing goes.
Yeah, it's excellent point about the artwork too, because I know I have my favorites, and I have the ones that I look for, and I can go to the czar and say, hey, I'm looking for a surfer, or hey, I'm looking for, another army jacket. And then there's other people who are just like, I want a zombie, or I want, and so everybody has different things. You get to see what other people like and talk about it. And that it's really awesome. To me, there's an element of almost fantasy sports vibe to it. Like everybody who's played fantasy sports, they'll tell you, the best day of the whole season is draft day, right? Before you even know who your guys are going to be. And, you're making trades for draft picks and players and things like that. And, from there, it's kind of like downhill, especially if your season's not going well. And that's kind of like what this is. It's like you get to go on there every single day and try to pull off a deal. That's why I was trying to make a three-way deal, because I wanted one thing, another guy wanted another, but we didn't want what each other had. And so it was like, all right, well, let's see who else we can draw in here. So yeah, it's awesome. And it's such a great vibe in the czar, because you pop in and you never know what you're going to see, what bundle's going to be listed, who wants to make a trade for what. And, it's just so cool. And I think we're all waiting to see the first legend to go now. So yeah, it's an awesome place. All right.
Couldn't agree more. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's get to our first major show segment, which we're calling for right now the OpenSea report, or the OSR. And positive Q, that's all you, buddy.
All right. So I took some time, went over all this. So welcome to the first PQ OpenSea report. So it has been, to say the least, a very busy week on OpenSea. So if we go over the numbers, in the last 7 days on OpenSea, there's been 57.52 ETH traded. That is a huge number for a collection that is still under 1 ETH floor price. I know that's about to change soon, but that is a huge number for that. As compared to if you look at 7 days as opposed to 14 days, in the 7 days prior to that, there was only 12 ETH traded. So I know our floor price was lower at the time, so there's a lot of more volume. But if you look at that number, 57 ETH over 7 days is an incredible number. Average floor price of those sales is 0.65. So we're now looking at an average sale of 8x, which is amazing in the 4 months we've been at this. So that's another credit to our founders. You look over what's been going on. There's the driving forces behind sales. It's not just price anymore. The driving force in most sales that I see is the fur selection still. It's what everybody's looking for. It's what everybody's shopping for. And I think that has to do with two things. One, it drives rarity. Obviously a diamond's more rare than brown. So, everybody's always looking those. I know I went wild on Saturday afternoon trying to bid on one myself.
PQ, what did you offer, like 10 ETH, was it?
No, I went to 7.
7
it wouldn't take
ETH.
it. Yeah. I went to 7, turned it down. I was begging for him to take it. I'm like pacing in my yard. So
Yeah.
Fur continues to drive that, and also fur based on Joey's. Everybody's still lining that up, and you got to think, it's September, so that's 3 months away, where everybody's starting to line up the little Joey's. And I think it's really cool to see where everybody, you see the trades going back and forth. Like, I'm looking for this one, I'm looking for that one. Tell a funny story that was great and to see over the past couple of days. So I had a guy in the tribe. I'm not going to use him by name because I don't have his permission to do so right now. But sent me a DM over the weekend and said, "Hey, this is what I'm looking to do. This is what's out there. You mind going over it with me?" So we took some time. We looked at OpenSea, and he was a little low on ETH. And he said, I want to make this happen, but I'm low on ETH. So we went through what was available. He was looking for a white animal fur. So, one of the more rare that's out there and one of the more desired that's out there. So when he first approached me, I'm like, man, I don't know if I can make this happen. I like helping everybody I can, but I don't know if I can get this done for this guy. So we go over what was out there, what I thought they were worth, what, he thought they were worth. And then we came up with a bidding strategy. Said, okay, this wallet hasn't moved at all. This one's been sitting out there a little while. Looked at a bidding strategy and said, okay, bid this one on this one on this one on this. And he went through and ended up picking up one of the three. Somebody accepted his offer later that night, and he could not have been more ecstatic. This gentleman, I think he's told everybody on Twitter and on Discord at least 4 times.
Yeah,
that's so awesome
about his sales. So it was fun to be involved, and it was fun to watch, and it circles back. But when you look at what's driving these sales, still to circle back to the original point, still fur. There's traits that have been driving it lately. I know, like the Fire Eyes and the XXIs have been popular, but it's a lot of this rarity value. It's a lot of it's still coming down to furs, and that may change after the Joeys. It may be more of a selection based on art and overall look, but right now still being driven by the fur.
Yeah, and it's another aspect to collecting them. It's like, now that's a game, right? That's a bit of a game where you're trying to match them up and make sure you get a black fur Joey or whatever it is you want, and it kind of makes it fun. And I know I have mine laid out. I have them all on an index card, and I'm trying to strategize. Like, all right, I have so many light brown furs. Do I just pair them up, or do I risk a 50-50 shot with my white animal fur or whatever? So yeah, it's kind of some strategy going into it. Just brings a whole nother element to it. So it's just an awesome.
That's something that if we continue with this and everybody likes it, we could probably do an entire show on the gambling theory behind, whether you want to risk it on, you got 2 browns. Do you want to put them together and spin the wheel? Or do you want to see if you can match them up with somebody else? It's I don't know if you guys follow this. I used to follow a lot of gambling theory, and it was Bayesian mathematics, which is an old English mathematician who created a lot of the gaming theory, which works a lot of the algorithms still that still do these selections to this day. So it's really cool stuff.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's awesome.
So
PQ, I love, it's the art of the deal, man. When you're talking about how you help the guy, find his white animal fur, when you start buying NFTs, you don't realize there's a lot of strategy to it, because you can see the activity in the wallets. You can see, who's posting bids, who's accepting offers. If someone's posting their QUOKKAs near the floor, there's a high probability that they need liquidity fast. And so that's another strategy. You look into those wallets. If they have other QUOKKAs that aren't even listed, go ahead. If you like one, put in an offer. He might sell. And it worked out in the guy's favor this time around, and he got his animal fur at a great price.
I agree. By the way, he was under floor when he got that. So one of the bid that was accepted was actually under floor, only slightly. I think floor at the time was 8-1, and his offer was 7-8. But to get one of the more rare and more sought after furs in the collection under floor at the time was a steal. I couldn't have been happier for him.
Yeah, that's awesome. And also just one that he wanted, one that he was really after. And that's like the value of having you in the Zar to kind of like, well, first of all, like the best part about it is you have all of this knowledge, and you have your own system for valuing them, but you don't try to just go out there and gobble them all up. If somebody puts out there what they're looking for, like you come right to the plate and you say, let me help you with this, and it's really, really a massive advantage to anyone who's doing it as an investment, particularly because you have guidance that otherwise you don't have, and you can trust it. And it's just really just massive to anyone who's doing that. So so thank you for always doing that for everyone.
I appreciate that. And I've said this a couple of times when we've been on the Zar or in the den. I always want it to be known that if you come to me and ask me about a deal or ask me about a value, that QUOKKA is now off the market for me. I'm gonna stay out of that, because I want to help you, and I want you to be able to trust me to bring it to me, that you don't think I'm going to snipe it or that I'm going to tell one of my buddies about it. It's now off the market. It doesn't exist to me. So please know that if you come to me about it, you want to know about price or value or any of those, that is off the market. It doesn't exist to me or anyone I know on OpenSea anymore.
Yeah,
so
that's an incredible value right there.
So,
all right.
So before we jump off, I do have my floor selections, which we didn't even get to yet.
Oh, yeah.
So let me get to them. Now, we're not in a visual medium right now. So I pulled them up, and I'm going to describe them for you a little bit and tell you why I think. So I pulled up 3 today. So when we talk about steals on the floor, I tried to grab 2 that were right at floor that I'm seeing that I think have value to them, and then 1 slightly above, especially with the price of ETH right now. You're going from my lowest at 0.81 to my highest at 0.99. You're looking at a difference of $200 here. Mm-hmm. But if it's something you're looking for, that may be something to look at. So if you're listening to this and you're looking and you're shopping, these are what I think is the most value on the floor right now. They all have value. Believe me, they all got some cool things going on. So this is my opinion. So there's 3 of them. The first one is 6354, which is a steel fur gold tooth with a mohawk. And he's got the smoking jacket on, like the Hugh Hefner smoking jacket. Mm-hmm. And, he's actually been sitting there for a little bit. And I like him for a lot of reasons. One, I'm a big fan of the mohawk trait. But you start throwing in the extra add-ons like the gold tooth, the smoking jacket. I think he's a definite value at almost exactly. I mean, he's sitting there at 0.81 right now. So when you look at OpenSea, he's just under the second line if they're all sorted in price lowest to highest. So I think that guy's a great value. Right on the same line, right at almost the same price, is another guy with a mohawk. So pink fur, black mohawk, got the turtleneck on, which I know some people like. Some people don't like because it covers up a lot of the fur, but I actually think it's a pretty cool looking trait. And the reason why I picked this one is because it's got the fire eyes. I think that's it's just a cool, distinct feature that you don't see a lot in other times. And then the third is, I think, an absolute steal is number 253, which is mohawk, gold tooth, tribe QUOKKA hat, fire eyes, and white animal fur, sitting there at 0.99. So when I look at this one at 1 ETH, this guy is an absolute. It's almost a crime that he's still sitting there. Yeah. So if you've got 1 ETH to spend, or you're looking to add on your collection, so if you're looking to add on for furs for Joey's, you got to go white animal. if you're looking to add on for, just something that's going to hold value, that's really cool looking, this guy's got it all. So that is my ultimate steal on the floor right now, is number 253.
Yeah, all great selections. I mean, I'd be happy with any of those.
Yeah, that's awesome. PQ dropping the QUOKKA wisdom right here. You know what I mean? You got to tune in so you get acquainted with all the ins and outs of what to look for and where the good deals are at.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of that, and speaking of, what people are looking for, another word that comes up often in the Zar when people are posting their QUOKKAs, either for sale or just to show them off, is the word clean. That you see, oh, that one's really clean. That one's really clean. And I said the other day, it's kind of like, you know it when you see it, but what exactly does that mean? So, you guys want to give your definition of that term?
Why don't you go first, D22?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, clean is a couple of things. So off the bat, when you say it's clean, some of these NFTs, especially in other collections, there's just a lot going on. And so sometimes it's just, it's cool, but it's also hard to look at because there's just so much. So when it's clean, it looks hot, it looks good, and there's not that much going on to distract the eye. You can also use clean to be polite and be like, yeah, it's not rare, but it's clean, so because you don't want to, someone's bringing the deal and you don't want to say, oh yeah, that's a non-rare, end of the barrel type of QUOKKA. So, you'll say that's a clean one, man, and it's a way of a patting on the back and say, hey man, it's a nice looking QUOKKA.
Yes. PQ?
I'm pretty much almost exactly the same opinion. It's an overused term. It's almost like when somebody says something's cool, like, in our generation. So it's like, yeah, that's really cool. So clean is just an adjective for that. So you see it a lot, when a QUOKKA is great or even rare, but doesn't have a lot of feature to it. So, you could go anywhere from like, a super rare one where it's, diamond, it's all diamond. But if it doesn't have any other features, somebody will call it real clean. To the lowest one in the collection, I guarantee somebody would call that clean as well. So I think it's almost just become an adjective for, I like that look. And, so that's kind of how I treat it. But to Dave's point, I know if sometimes if I look at something and I can't pick anything out to say, hey, that's really cool, I go with clean.
Right. Yeah. It makes sense. D, do you have our guests ready?
Yeah, GhostofSushimon, the one and only, man. Listen, I'll say this about our guest today. This is my first collection I got into is Tribe QUOKKA. And man, you see what GhostofSushimon got going on, and you just know he's a veteran in the game, and we're honored to have him here on the ZarCast.
Yes. All right. Welcome,
Ghost.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You say veteran. I feel like I'm a newbie in the game every single day. I wake up and jump in. So well, I don't know if I'm a veteran.
as we've been told by the one and only Dr. Doofus, if someone ever tries to act like an expert in this space, you cannot trust them. So
absolutely.
Glad to hear you say that. All right. So I'm an older guy, so if you don't mind, my first question for you is, what does that name of yours mean, GhostofSushimon?
You know what? There's a. It's crazy enough. It's a play on a video game called actually Ghost of Tsushima. I used to be a heavy gamer, not so much anymore. But one of the last games that I actually played on a system was this particular game, and this just a spin on the name. That's
nice.
It. Nothing crazy. Prior to this coming into the NFT space, I had the name King of the Apes with the Burner. And once I got into Tribe QUOKKA, I said, well, I can no longer be an ape. So
appreciate
it's
that.
time to move on.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when and why did you join this space? Like, what drew you to Tribe QUOKKA, and how'd you get involved?
So for me, it was a friend of mine, a longtime friend of mine, Cornell Crypto. He's friends with Brett. And sometime last year, about September, October, she reached out to me via Facebook. and said, hey, listen, there's a project coming up. Are you into NFTs? I said, not yet, but I'm actually starting to explore it a little bit. He said, well, jump in. And him being a person that I've known for a very long time and trust wholeheartedly, I said, yeah, just send me the information and I'm in. Initially, I said, I'll jump in, get maybe 4, maybe 5. And then, NFTs happen and then you end up with 20 plus.
Once you start, you can't stop, right?
Not at all. It is very addictive. I tell you, I think I joke with you guys in the Discord, but I literally have to give my wife my ledger sometimes, just to stop the buy-in.
Yo, my man
Hey.
GhostofSushimon, he even has a disclaimer about his relationship with NFTs and his wife. It's funny.
Oh yeah. She's you know what? She's a silent partner. She just kind of lets me do my thing. It makes me happy. So she likes things that makes me happy. But I definitely never really disclose, how much I'm putting into it.
I think
Well,
there's
that's
a
all
lot
right.
of this
As long
in
as
that
you
book.
know she's back there somewhere in the back of your mind as a bit of a governor for you to just completely go crazy. But
yeah.
Well, yeah. So thank you to your buddy, man, because you're a great value to our tribe and especially to the Zar. You definitely have emerged as a voice that people can trust and look forward to hearing what you have to say and share. And your comments are always really positive to everybody whenever they put something out there. And you're a great asset to us. So tell your buddy we said thanks, man.
Absolutely appreciate it. And you guys have been absolutely amazing for what you bring to the table. In the Zar, I can't thank you guys enough for stepping in and really like you guys put in unpaid work. I know you get a ton of joy out of it, though. I can tell every time I'm in there. But yeah, thank you guys as well for doing what you do.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So, Ghost, I have a question. So, when
Sure.
you minted, how much did you mint? Because I know you're a pretty significant whale at this point. Did you start out with 6 and then got a bunch of public mint, or did you, kind of pick them all up as we went along?
I initially started out. I was going to just start with 4. I was going to start with 4, and then we got the email that said, "Hey, you can add on more if you'd like to." So I said, "Okay, I'll do 6." So I actually minted 6, but within a couple of days, I was already at 10, and then it was just kind of nonstop from there.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens, right?
It's really funny.
Yeah. So is there a QUOKKA in your collection that's your favorite? Like, do you have like one that's an untouchable and it's going in the vault?
It's my PFP. It's the scarf. It's the QUOKKA with the ape scarf. That's my forever PFP. It's not necessarily a high rank, but the PFP itself, I mean, it's classy and it says, "Hey, I wear apes."
It is for sure. It is. It's a beautiful one for sure. Yeah. So what are besides the ape scarf? Do you have any other traits that you prefer or you like the best?
I typically like to go for things that just kind of look clean visually. I'm a photographer by trade. I'm a wedding photographer in the Philly area. I like clean looks. So my next one would be like I definitely like the fang traits. The fang traits are nice, and I do like shades on a QUOKKA here and there as well.
Yeah, well, don't let your wife get mad at me, but there's a fang near the floor. Just saying.
I know. I see it. I'm watching them.
All right. Well, it looks like we are up
on one of my
against the
floor
2-minute
updates.
warning. Sorry, to talk over you. Go ahead.
2-minute warning.
Yeah. So do you have any attendance plans for any of the events? You going?
Unfortunately not. My week is actually fairly packed. I have a ton of meetings coming up, a ton of sessions that I'll be shooting during the week. So unfortunately not, but I'll be there in spirit, of course, and tuning into the live feed as much as I can.
I know. Yeah, it's awesome that they're doing that. And all right. So one final question for you. If you could have a legend created, who would you make?
It would be Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is for me
That's a good one.
that's it's the GOAT. That nothing else needs to be said, honestly.
That's perfect choice, man. And actually that's another one that's a trait that I haven't seen people really go after too much, is that we do have the boxing robe, that red, white, and blue, and it's the boxing robe. And then there's the tall hat, which is basically Apollo Creed's outfit.
It is.
Yeah. And I think there's one, I think he's got a blue fur out there. He's got the hat and the boxing robe. So whoever has that, that's a cool one.
Might be sitting on some gold right there.
Yeah.